Everyone, Namaste, Hari Om. Welcome back. Sadashivasamārambhāṃ Shankarācārya-madhyamāṃ Asmadācārya-paryantāṃ Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Padarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhanaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yes. So we are seeing chapter 4 and the topic of Yajna. In Yajna, by now we all remember and understand the components that are involved in the action called Yajna. There has to be a karta, a doer. There will be a sthan, a adhishthan, where a fire is lit. There is Agni. And in that Agni, there is something which is oblated. Something from the karta's end is offered into that fire with the bhav of tyag in it. You are offering it, means oblating it. The buddhi behind is not of dena, but the buddhi is of tyagna. किसको त्याग रहे हैं, किस चीज को त्याग रहे हैं? Something what is in my capacity to offer, जो मेरी क्षमता में है, जो मेरे पास है, जो मेरे अधिकार में है, जो मेरी शक्ति में है, जो मेरी कैपेसिटी में है, जो भी मुझे प्रिय भी है, whatever is dear to me, whatever is priya to me. Or if it is a physical yajna, then as per the rituals ordained in the Shastra, whatever is ordained under that particular fire, yajna, by the injunctions of the Devata, through the mantras, I make that offering without a aham mama bhav there. That's the essential of yajna. Yajna can only be physically done or mentally done. दो ही प्रकार से किया जा सकता है. यज्ञ एक कर्म है. ये कर्म या तो आप फिजिकल कर रहे हो, एक्चुअल एक्शन कर रहे हो, या ये कर्म आप अपनी मानसिक कर्म के रूप से कर रहे हो. दो ही तरीके हैं. बिकॉज यज्ञ इज द फंडामेंटल ऑफ यज्ञ इज there is a bhed buddhi there. Karak buddhi hai. There is a sense of division. Requesting everybody, whoever can switch on, please switch on your videos. So there is a bhed buddhi there. Wherever there is a bhed buddhi, you will automatically realize that in that bhed buddhi, one can only do karmas. The attitude of abhedata, the knowledge of abhedata. Yeah, if you're traveling and driving, you can keep it off, please. It's okay. We don't want errors on the road. If you are finding yourself with a bheda buddhi, that bheda buddhi implies karta hai. So Shastra says, every class I may repeat myself only for the reason, यही सिद्धांत है, हम सबको पकड़ना है. शास्त्र का एक ही प्रयोजन है, हमें ये दिखाना कि हमारा स्वरूप क्या है. शास्त्र का कोई और प्रयोजन है ही नहीं. Its entire unfoldment is in the fact that there is a satyam, and that satyam is your lakshya. उसको जान ही सकते हो, उसको पहुंच नहीं सकते. You cannot reach truth. You can only know the truth. So when such is the situation, then this jiva, this individual who is bound by the thought of me engaged in this personality, finding myself with a certain behavioral and preordained as if tendencies. मेरा एक अपना ही स्वभाव मैं समझती हूं, जिसको मैं कहती हूं. मेरे को उस स्वभाव की ट्रांसेंड करके अपना कोई बोध नहीं है. मेरी समझ में जो मेरा स्वभाव है, उसको मैं समझती हूं. शास्त्र's दृष्टि is to help me figure out मेरी सोच में उस बाउंड्री को पहचानना, एंड उस बाउंड्री को खींच देना, उसको व्यापक कर देना. क्योंकि इस बाउंड्री को जब मैं तोड़ती हूं, इसको मैं जब एक्सपैंड करती हूं, तो ये बाउंड्री एक्सपेंशन में अपने स्वरूप में जाती है, एंड दैट स्वरूपम इज द ट्रुथ ऑफ माई सेल्फ. So, yajna is a concept which is knowledge based. ज्ञान है ये, कर्मों को कैसे करने का एक ज्ञान है ये. Like science gives us knowledge of material world, Vedas give us the knowledge of the world of action and its results. इनके अंदर जो संबंध है, कर्म का अपने फल के साथ एक रिश्ता है. You cannot separate them, two sides of a coin. हमें इसका ज्ञान अपने बाउंड्री के विजन में नहीं है. I do not know how my actions bring about a result in the future. I do not understand how the results accrue to me. This is not in the present framework of my limited understanding of who I am. वेदों का अनुग्रह हम पे ये है, ये कॉज एंड इफेक्ट के रिश्ते को दिखा देता है. For every effect there is a cause, and that cause has an effect, and that effect becomes the cause of another effect, and the cycle continues, जिसको हम कर्म कहते हैं. Yajna is that pivotal technique of purifying. This jiva buddhi, of all its behavioral, temperamental, personality based opinion. So, why are we the way we think we are? कारण तो एक ही है, avidya. Shastra tells us from the 4th chapter onwards that this seeker of the truth, who has managed through the karmas, purified ये अंतकरण की अपनी राग द्वेषी वृत्ति, अहंकारी वृत्ति को ज्ञान साधना में डाल के अपने आत्मा का उसको बोध है, उसके लिए कर्म किया हुआ उसको कर्म बॉन्डेज नहीं बनता, which we saw from 18th verse till 24th verse. That was the effect. Uska, every component of that action, he sees only the truth there. For everything that we do is inseparable from the source from where it originates. I'll repeat this. आप हमारी समझ में दो बातें साथ साथ पैरेलल ट्रैक पे चलेंगी. एक है जीव बुद्धि की सोच और एक है ब्रह्म बुद्धि में जो हमें शास्त्र देता है, सिखाता है. They are both going to be parallel. Jiva buddhi is what we understand. And it is this Brahma buddhi that has to take predominance, and it will slowly diminish the Jiva buddhi, and it will eradicate it when my Brahma buddhi has become nishtha. Uski nishtha jab ho jati hai, to Jiva buddhi disintegrates, because from a Brahma buddhi standpoint, this Jiva buddhi is not there. From whose standpoint? From the standpoint of Brahma buddhi. The Jiva buddhi is not there. Mithya roop hai. ये snake on rope है. उसका इसका truth तो forget it, वो है ही नहीं. So my experience of Jiva buddhi and the reality of it, this is one parallel track, one track to which the teaching is given that मेरे कर्मों को मैं अगर ऑब्जर्व करूं तो इसी के अंदर है वो सीड ऑफ बॉन्डेज. The way I perform the action, the way I have identified with myself and my capacity to do and what I seek and what I generate and what I relate to or etc. This जीव बुद्धि से किया हुआ कर्म हमेशा फल अपेक्षा से होता है। वो हमारे बंधन का कारण है। कैसा बंधन? वो बंधन हमें सुख दुख रूप का अनुभव देता है और उस सुख दुख रूप अनुभव में हमें क्योंकि फल कालांतर मिलता है तो जन्म बंधन का एक रिश्ता बन जाता है, एक साइकिल बन जाती है। क्योंकि कालांतर मीन्स we do not know when which result will manifest at what time and what situation. All seeds do not manifest at the same time. हर मौसम में एक ही प्रकार का फल या फूल उगता है। You do not have flowering season the whole year. So certain karmas that I do with a jiva bhav, they will fructify in kalantar. वो कालांतर की सिचुएशन जब बनेगी तब वो फल अपना उद्भूत होगा और उसका सुख एंड दुख विल बी व्हाट आई विल पार्टेक। ये सारा जीव का साइकिल है। ये जीव के साइकिल में जब किसी जीव की बुद्धि जागृत होती है और वो पूछे कि भैया is this an endless cycle? Because karmas are endlessly done. We are not aware of what karmas we do most of the time. We do not know of any other method of doing it also. हमें तो सिर्फ अपने इच्छाओं को पूरा करने का एक तरीका पता है जो हम कर्म के थ्रू कर सकते हैं। There is nothing else as a method we know. So if there is a jiva buddhi which awakens and asks, is there another method? Then Shastra says, yes. And the method is, first understand how are those who have employed this method become freed of the cycle. पहले इस बात में श्रद्धा बना लो कि there is a method. अगर हमारी बुद्धि तर्क करेगी इस पे तो हमारे को वो श्रद्धा फीकी रहेगी, and as a result of which my application of that will also remain weak. So the journey and the effort will be longer. Not that it will not produce the result, मगर उतना ज़्यादा परेशानी होगी because I'll have to work with my own tarka buddhi. Shastra says, once you have understood what a Jivan Mukta is, who a Jivan Mukt is, वो अगर जीवन मुक्त हो सकता है कोई एक भी, it's a big statement in a way Shastra gives us, very encouraging. If there is even one Jivan Mukta possible in the entire humankind, supposing, and it's not just one, there are many, countless. But for our own argument's sake, even if one is possible, then that means that possibility is open for everyone. That means it is a pursuit worth the पुरुषार्थ। क्योंकि कर्मों के साइकिल में इट्स अ साइकिल। मेरी जीव बुद्धि में मैं जो भी जीवन जीऊं, however beautiful a life I live, my jiva buddhi cannot have a correction. Negation तो दूर की बात है। I'm repeating myself. However beautiful a life I have lived or I live, the way I wanted, the way everything as fulfilled, जो कुछ भी मुझे जीवन में करना है, But with this Jiva Buddhi, there is no possibility of a correction, leave alone a rectification, negation, because it is still based on Jiva Buddhi. और वो साइकिल में ही रहेगा. पुनरपि जननम पुनरपि मरणम पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम. इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे कृपया पाहि पाहि पारिम पाहि पाहि मुरा. कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे. When that voice comes from within, this has no end. Cycle has no end. Birth and death cycle has no end. So where do I find a exit? ये मेरे एक जन्म की प्रॉब्लम है क्या? ये मेरे एग्जिस्टेंस की इशू है. What I call as myself as an individual, that individual based life, individualized life, is not a life that I have to address. It is not the issues of a life that I have to handle. It is not the birth and death and the disease and the decay and the attachment and the separation and the gain and the loss and the fame and the, what is opposite of fame? Ill fame, infame, whatever. It is not the heat and the cold of this life. It is not the hunger and the starvation of this life. It is not the overfeeding of this life. It is not the sensory yearning of this life. It is not an issue of one life. इस जन्म की प्राप्ति का इशू नहीं है, fulfillment की बात नहीं है. The crux is, it is to do with my existence, because it's the same thing that is over and over repeated. यही वस्त्र बदल बदल के. I said it before also. Today winters are here, so we are all nicely warmly cuddled up. Very soon, in a few weeks time, इसको पहना के दिखा दो फिर से. टच भी करा दो वुल को. In summers, तड़पने लगता है. You can't touch the wool at that time. You have to change the vesture. You cannot exist with the same thing. So Shastra has said, अगर आप समझ जाओ कि जीवन मुक्त कैसा है, कैसे बना, उसकी क्या, I'll use the word sadhana, but उसके जीवन को उसने कैसे डायरेक्ट किया कि वो अपने इस जीव बुद्धि के बाउंड्री को एक्सपैंड करके उसका लोकस उसने यूनिवर्सल कर दिया. And it is possible for one, so it is possible for everyone. And when such a person does a karma, उसको अब कर्म पकड़ता नहीं है. Like we said, I think in the last class, we gave the example somewhere that in any action, if you change the way we do the action, like for example, if this action has to be done as yajna, it will be a purifying action. कोई भी कर्म हमारा जब यज्ञ में दृष्टि से उन कंपोनेंट्स को इंक्लूड कर लेता है, means there should be an ahuti buddhi. There should be the karta as the one who's giving the ahuti. There has to be something in which I'm giving the ahuti. And the example I said is the very same example. If whoever is there, supposing you are teaching someone, and if you're teaching it with an idea that you are see the focus kaise badalta hai. If there are components in an action, any of these components can be highlighted, isn't it? If there are components in anything, आप किसी को भी highlight कर सकते हो. Supposing you make a dish and you put some masalas and everything, it's components, isn't it? It has salt, it has chilies, it has etc. It has water content. You can increase or decrease any content because it's a component. You can increase or decrease any component. Action का जब आप नजरिया देखो, you can increase or decrease any component. Your attention can be on yourself, the doer, while performing an action. You can increase that component and say, I am doing. Your attention can be on the fruit you want. And you can say, I want this fruit. Kuch bhi kar lo, I have to get it. There you will pay any price you want because your attention is, you are not important. The fruit is important. You will work very, very hard. You will sacrifice your sleep and food to get what you want. Your attention is on the fruit. Your attention can be on the means. I will only follow proper means to get what I want. I will not, my attention is on the fact that whatever are improper means, I will not follow them to get what I want. यहाँ पे भी ध्यान हो सकता है. हमारा किसी भी कंपोनेंट पे ध्यान हो सकता है क्योंकि ये भेद बुद्धि है हम में. So Shastra says, the one who has figured it out, कि इन सब का the fundamental source of action, the means of action, the phala, ये सब एक शक्ति रूप में ब्रह्म से ही उत्पन्न हो रहे हैं और उसका ध्यान ब्रह्म में निष्ठ हो गया है. उसके बाद वो कोई भी कर्म करे, अब वो भेद बुद्धि वहां नहीं है. So the first thing is I can do it for a result. The second thing is I can just do it as an offering where my ahankar is not important, but now this action is becoming worship. I am putting it into the fire of someone else's. In the example of the teaching, whoever is teaching, the attention is not that I am teaching. The attention is what is taught will illumine someone. नजरिया बदल गया. और ज्ञानी का नजरिया है कि उसका अपने पे ही, अपने स्वरूप पे, अपने स्वभाव में उसका निष्ठ हो गया. And once he is there, none of these actions are going to actually impact the person. कोई फल उसको पकड़ता नहीं है. And exactly how Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, when he says that I continue to do all actions, but they do not touch me. They do not taint me. So, I'm presuming you can see the screen. Yeah?
Yes.
So, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi. This is the Phalastuti of the Jnani. Now he started from 25th verse, 25th, 26, 27, 28 also, and 29 he'll start concluding. He will say, what are these methods, techniques with which you, means we with a Jiva Buddhi can now start purifying our actions. So, in the 25th verse, the first line, talking about those who are still with Jiva Buddhi, वो क्या करते हैं, वो यज्ञ कैसे करते हैं. For them, yajna is homa. Homa means puja and all forms of worship that we understand in everyday life. Mandir jana, pradakshina karna, etc. What do they do? Daivam eva apare yajnam. Yoginaha paryupasate. These are those yogis. Which yogis? Those who now want to purify themselves. But they are still with this जीव दृष्टि, और कर्म स्वाभाविकली उनके निकलते रहते हैं फॉर फल इच्छा. बैठ नहीं सकते. Like he said in the 3rd chapter somewhere, we cannot sit idle even for a minute without doing action. Actions just come from us. We cannot remain still also. So such people who are already in the framework of action, कर्म करते रहते हैं, they now want to purify themselves. वो योगी हैं. अब वो कर्म योगी हैं. कर्मों को योग की दृष्टि से करेंगे. तो कुछ लोग उनमें से ऐसे हैं जो देवताओं को अपने कर्मों की आहुति देते हैं. In the real sense of doing pujas and etc. All this. The devatas is to whom they worship. But some other people, Brahma Agni, and that is where we said is an important contrasting sadhana. Others, other than the Karma Yogi, wo kaun hai? Sankhya Yogi, what he said in the earlier chapter. These Sankhya Yogis, who are actually now no more dependent on Karma Yoga, उनकी कर्म की प्रवृत्ति बहुत minimize हो गई है. They don't depend on the fruits so much. These people are now into jnanam. They are pursuing knowledge. And in the pursuit of knowledge, they are giving the ahuti of the yajna itself. And Shankaracharya gives the meaning of 25th verse. Yajna shabdavachya atma atmanamasu yajna shabdasya pathat. Atma means जो अपने आप को मैं कह रहा है. The one who's referring to himself as the individual, वो अपने ही अहम को, अहम बुद्धि को, जीव बुद्धि को अपने ही ब्रह्म बुद्धि की में आहुति दे रहा है. So they are giving the oblation of this limited I, aham, into the fire of Brahma Gyan and strengthening, growing. जब हम आहुति देते हैं तो the fire grows. It's a fuel. This ahankar, aham buddhi, is offered in the Brahma buddhi. And that offering of Brahma buddhi into the fire of Brahma buddhi, some others who are the Jnana yogis, they do that. And this is what we call as Mananam, Nididhyasanam in particular. This Nididhyasanam is for Jnana Nishtha. The first line is for Chitta Shuddhi. Second line is for Jnana Nishtha. Those who can do the second will do the second. Those who can do the first will do the first. But then there are some others. वो क्या करते हैं? Means there are so many ways in which you can purify yourself. that Shastra has opened up through the Vedic system, and then it has spread into a lot of disciplines that one takes over. That's the right word. The self disciplines that one keeps oneself, knowing, understanding this fundamental, that Jiva Buddhi, and whatever we do with it only takes us in a cycle. Therefore, to break the cycle, I have to do certain forms of tapas. And what are the tapas that are available? What are the methods that are available? What are the self disciplines that I can undertake in the light of the knowledge, so that they help me establish, fructify this life? Let's put it this way. So, some others which we have to do today: Shrotradin Indriyani Anye. So, there are others, some others. The third type of people. वो क्या करते हैं? श्रोत्र आदि इंद्रिय. All the organs, Shrotra Adi, includes all the organs of perception and action. Inko, this Shrotra Adi is the Ahuti now. This is going to be the offering. Into what? Sanyama Agni. Usko Sanyam ki Agni mein Juhvati means they offer that. So, what is the fire? The fire is of control, self-control. Nigraha. Indriya Nigraha. So, Shrotra Adi Indriyani. We all know what is the nature of Shrotra Adi. What is the nature of all the Indriyas? That they run outside. They run towards their objects. घोड़े हैं ये इंद्रिया. आंख जाती है नेम एंड फॉर्म पे, कलर एंड फॉर्म पे. Automatically our eye gravitates to its respective object. हमारा घोड़ा of our ear goes to sound. The घोड़ा of our nose goes to smell, etc. एक घोड़े, 5 घोड़े हैं हमारे, 5 इंद्रियां हमारे 5 घोड़े हैं. They go to their respective objects. Some yogis, and who are these yogis? They are self-inspired to undertake certain disciplines, knowing fully well that ये इंद्रिया ही है जो मेरे जीव बुद्धि को भगाती है. इंद्रियों के थ्रू ही मेरे राग द्वेष बनते हैं. इंद्रियों के थ्रू ही मेरे सब सुनी सुनाई एंड एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. My whole samsar, a huge portion of our samsaric life starts from indriya vyapar. The attractions, the revulsions, etc., etc., the likes, the dislikes, the comparisons, the competitions, बहुत कुछ मेरे जीव भाव को बढ़ावा मिलता है. I have to engage rather. So those who are in the pravritti marg, means who are already active in life, they already have a vyavaharik life. We are all in the world, we all have vyavahars to maintain. Some people, what is the discipline they take? They manage to minimize this vyavaharik interaction, indriyon ke interactions, into the fire of self-restraint, self-control, and minimize it only to that which is relevant for the pursuit of their own higher establishment. वो उसी में अपने आप को engage करते हैं. So there are so many people, supposing you have a weakness for music. If you love music, then there'll be obviously some certain kind of music you like. इसको वो इंद्रिय निग्रह कैसे करेंगे? Some people who find weakness for, in this example, music, उसको इंद्रिय निग्रह कैसे होगा? वो कहेंगे, I will only listen to that which is related to Bhagwan's Naam. That is how you have, in fact, very interesting now. This Gen Z has opened up so many ways of doing bhajans. So it's very, very, very interesting, very encouraging in a way. थोड़ा सा हमारी जनरेशन तक आते आते थोड़ा सा भय हो रहा था यार, where is what is happening? But when you see them in hundreds chanting, thousands sometimes chanting Hanuman Chalisa, and now I'm not saying right or wrong, but that particular aspect, and you have found this for so many stories or people you may have known in life who have taken such things. Someone we know who loved traveling, बहुत उन्हें मजा आता था, अलग अलग, वो टिक नहीं सकते थे एक जगह पे, तो उनको जब ये सुनने में आया तो उन्होंने एक संकल्प ले लिया, wherever I go now will only be where there is either a Tirat Sthan or a temple or some associated with God or an activity related to that. Something like that. So that means all my sightseeing tours are now out. All my adventure trips are out. So क्या किया मैंने? व्यवहार को नियमित कर दिया. I have संयम में ले आई हूं उसको. संयम is the agni. Some people love to eat, eat a lot. मतलब उनको कभी भी, they have a weakness for food. Now this is इंद्रियों का निग्रह. So in this इंद्रियों का निग्रह हम कर्मयोग पे एम्फेसिस नहीं कर रहे, हम इंद्रिय निग्रह पे एम्फेसिस कर रहे हैं. So what is the इंद्रिय निग्रह? If I am very fond of food, so for this, once in a while, break what you eat. So the idea of fasting is prevalent in our society. Idea of jagran is prevalent in society. Shivratri pe jagran hota hai. The whole night you're remembering only God. Shiva. शिव की पूजा, शिव की आराधना, शिव की अर्चना. आपने कौन से इंद्रिय को निग्रह किया? ऑटोमेटिकली जो आ जाती है. So you are controlling that. And there are any number of examples. The basic idea is it has to start, he's going to say it, I think, in the next verse. It has to start with the knowledge of why am I going to do this? The value has to be there. Without that value, you cannot do Indriya Nigraha. It will not last. You can, but you will not be able to sustain it. It will not give its intended purpose of freeing oneself. Because आपको लगने लगेगा you are denying yourself. And denial is not something that, it's a direct opposite of fulfillment. The sense of denial is the direct opposite of a sense of fulfillment. So unless and until I know why am I doing it, it has to be Jnana Agni. Invoked, inspired by understanding that these indriyas are my ghodas. इन पे अगर मैं काबू नहीं रखती तो ये तो मुझे ले जाएंगे जहां जहां, और इनका कोई पूर्णता इनको नहीं लगेगी. They'll never feel fulfilled. So they'll keep me chasing after objects and things. They'll keep me engaged chasing. So some people, what do? They put the indriyas into the fire of Sanyam. And it can be any of these. So each one can multiply it on their own. Whichever one finds oneself being able to relate to. What are the others? Now the fourth type. So what was the first type? Daivam meva pare yajnam yogina parupasate. Second is brahmagnau apare yajnam yagnena eva upajuhvati. Third type is Shrotradin Indriyani Anye, some other people, Sanyam Agni Juhvati. And the fourth type is similar looks like, but it is those who are not even able to do that still, who find it very difficult to do Indriya Nigraha. उनको क्या कहा है? शब्दादीन विषयान अन्य, other people. Shabd Adi, the sense contacts, that sense objects that come in contact with the senses, those sense objects you put as oblation into the Indriya ki Agni. What I am hearing, I am only offering it to the Indriya. What I am seeing, I am offering it to the Indriya. What I am smelling, I offer it to the Indriya. Which means I am not reducing my interactiveness with the world. I am not bringing the Indriyas into Nigraha, all of them. I am only reducing the contact with the objects, and whatever contact I do, I only choose those contacts that are helpful, धार्मिक. बस सिर्फ उतनों को मैं उन ऑब्जेक्ट्स के साथ मैं फ्रीली एंगेज कर लेती हूँ, and I put them into the fire of the Indriya. Means it's like saying, if I love listening to music, I am not saying I will only listen to Bhagwan's bhajans. Whatever falls in my ear, people talking, people abusing me, people insulting me, anything, as long as it's a sound that's going in my ear, I am offering that sound into the fire of the perception of the Indriya. इंद्रिय इन्वोक हुई है ना वहां पे. ज्ञान मुझे कैसे हुआ? उस इंद्रिय का, इंद्रिय व्यवहार का. Because there is a fire invoked. What? Of the Indriya. So some others, Shabdadi, Vishaya, all the sense objects, I put it into the fire of Indriya. In the first one, there's a very thin line between third and fourth. In the third yajna, I am offering all Indriyas or any Indriya into Sanyam. अपने अंडर ला रही हूं मैं उसको. There's a difference between the two. And I am the one who's controlling my Indriya. मैं उन घोड़ों को भागने नहीं दे रही. I am choosing where my ghodas will go. If I choose my ghoda should go in this direction, means my eyes should go here today, my ears should, I am directing my Indriyas, because I have put the Indriya Vyavhar into Sanyam. So now I am the master, and the Indriyas are not making me a slave of their force, of the pull of the objects, towards the pull of the objects. But if this is not possible, and I find that the objects pull my Indriyas to themselves, then while they are interacting, I only offer the object into that particular specific Indriya. That's it. So it's a very initial based, simple, and very open. You can do it anytime. I love this particular. जब भी आपको वापस कनेक्ट करना होता है, so when you go in the mornings or anytime you go and you hear natural sounds around you, you can sit for a long time allowing the sounds as fire, into the fire of your Indriya. So when the birds are all talking amongst themselves, gossiping with themselves, भगवान जाने क्या करती हैं, की क्या बातें करती हैं इतनी ज्यादा, जो भी वो आपस में बातें कर रही हैं मेरे कान में तो पड़ रही है. समझ मुझे नहीं आ रही है, लेकिन मेरे इंद्रियों को तो उसने प्रज्वलित किया. The sound, when it entered, the hearing invoked. And I can only pay attention to this. The sound is offered into the fire of hearing. The sight is offered into the fire of seeing. The smell is offered into the fire of smell, nose, etc. So some others do that. And then in the next one, we'll just quickly take over, which he says more from this. Shankaracharya ji does not mention that very directly, but Madhusudan ji spends a huge lot of time explaining it. And he says, some others, and he refers to those yogis who take to the path of yogic lifestyle based on Patanjali Yoga Sutras and as a sadhana where the Ashtang Yoga is a direction for them. But if you just take it either way, it says, for some others, what do they do? Sarvani Indriya Karmani, Prana Karmani Cha Apare. These people, they offer all their indriyas, gyanendriyas, karmendriyas, and the pranas through pranayam, etc., into Atma Sanyam, Agni, lighted by the knowledge of the Samadhi Jnanam. So there is a knowledge here, like I just said in the previous one also, unless until there is a knowledge of why am I doing it, the value of it there. So lit by the lamp of knowledge. And Shankaracharya ji says here, all this, there's not, he's, whatever is said, I just explained it. He says, Jnana, this Jnana Deepite, he says, Snehena Eva Pradeepe. Like in a light, in a lamp, you have the oil which lubricates it. So the lubrication of that self-restraint is Jnanam. And what is that Jnanam? Viveka Vijnanena. Ujjvala Bhavam. Lighted by Viveka Vigyan. He says that is what keeps the pursuit of the restraints going, of all the steps that it has. So what are your steps? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So the first 4 towards will be a Bahirang, and the last 3 are the Antarang sadhanas. So what are they doing? Sarvani Indriyani Karmani, Indriya Karmani, Tatha Prana Karmani, all the pranas through pranayama, which is Vayu, Adhyatmikaha, Tat Karmani, Akunchana, Prasaranadini. All this, he says, these are actually technical terms which is used by the Nyaya and the Vaisheshikas, and different ways in which they manage. So Akunchana is one of the ways of withdrawing the air inwards and holding it for some time. So Rechak and all these, the science of pranayam, let's put it this way. So some of them seriously engage themselves into this kind of a pursuit, and for them, they give this Atma Sanyam that they are putting itself as the fire, itself as the offering, into the fire of the offering is the Atma Sanyam of what? Of all the indriyas and the pranas activities. I'll repeat this. The Atma Sanyama is the Agni. So all the yogic life that they are adopting, and there are people who very seriously do this. Their ahar is very well maintained. Their sleep is cycled. They do their yogas and asanas. They do pranayama for some time. And then when there is a certain withdrawal, even Ramana has said this in Upadeshasar also, he says, pranayama praliyate. He said, through pranayama, the mind is withdrawn. And it's a very technical way in which we find the pranayam helps in where was spend some time. Vayu rodhanat liyate manaha. By the practice of this Vayu ka control, which is pranayam, mind takes laya, a temporary laya. But there are steps that Madhusudanji takes through all the various stages, and through all these practices, it brings the mind gradually to quieten itself, which we do in Nididhyasana also. First few minutes, quieten it, and then this mind is put into self observation. It's put into self-observation. Rather, it is self-observing. So, this is what it does. So, through Sarvani Indriya Karmani, Prana Karmani cha apare, Atma Sanyama Agni, Atma Sanyama Yoga Agni, Juhvati Jnana Deepite. Yoga Agnav is Yoga Agni. आत्मा और संयम की योग की अग्नि से lit by Viveka, such a person. There are people who do this kind of a yajna as well. Okay, so I think with this, we'll end for today. If you have any questions, we'll take up later. Let me just conclude the class first. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu, Sarvesham purnam bhavatu, Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu, Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, Sarve santu niramayaha, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, Ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhave. Om swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahisha go brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi sasya shalini deshoyam kshobarahitah Brahmana santu nirbhayaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.